Let's do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Grief Burrito. Today, there's me, and there's Ross Cooke.
Hello.
And we're discussing the best of the 90s cartoon nostalgia that gets us all dank in the brain, in the cosmic mind, and in the pants, if you're wearing them, unlike me right now. Ross, intro, let's go. Welcome back, my lovely little burrito children. Welcome back. It's been a crying shame. I've missed you all. And if this is your first time listening, I'm Hazz, this is Grief Burrito, and we cover games, we cover movies, animation, great stories, and whatever else we like to do really in the week. But today, as you heard in the intro, I am joined by the lovely, the sensual, the powerful Ross Cooke. Say hello!
Hi, everyone. Although, by that description, you might have got the wrong one.
No, we've definitely got the right one. You're definitely the correct Ross that I wanted on today's show.
Wasn't Ross Cooke without the E?
Without the E, yes. Or I was trying to, like, umlauts or like Cooke.
Yeah, Cooke.
Ross the Cooke from the Sweden. Shout out to our Swedish listeners, because I know you're listening and I'm sorry for the accent. Today, as you heard in the intro, we are going to be discussing 90s cartoons and animation, which may have inspired Ross getting into his own drawing styles, because that's something I want to look at, because we have some exciting news from you, don't we, Ross? You've been busy bee.
The busiest of bee. Yeah, I've got a book out. It's happened quite recently. It's been out for a little while now, and everybody in the community of podcasts has been very sweet buying a copy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think my parents bought about 5 or 6 as well, so
So they should. Doting parents. That's what parents are for, other than birthing you. You know, they're supposed to buy your creations.
That was one step, and then buying my stuff is the important next step.
So my dad said to me, I downloaded your podcast. And I was like, why? Why did you do that? Listen to my stories. Colour drains from my face. We did have a couple of people on Twitter as well shouting out some of the cartoons that they enjoyed, so we will get into some of their thoughts as well. And I do want to know in the comments some of the best intros, because going back looking through, Ross, I don't know if you found this as well, 90s cartoons, like, we need to settle this, just have the best music and intros.
Yeah, it's 90s cartoons and cartoons now that harken back to the 90s cartoon.
Yes,
like I'm thinking like She-Ra, Princesses of Power. That has an awesome intro.
That's a great one.
You know, just like anything with lyrics basically kicks ass. So.
Yeah. So where should we start? Should we start with movies or should we start with shows?
As the host, obviously it's your choice, but then as the guest, obviously I outrank you now. So
do you outrank me? And with your looming over me camera that you've got.
I know. Basically, on my screen, I look like a giant. And then
you do.
On the video that everyone else will see, I look like I'm in the 1980s on the very first video camera.
Oh, really? Oh, shit, yeah, because you're not recording this camera, are you? Oh, yeah, so listeners, you're not seeing, or viewers on YouTube, he's using his phone for me, so it looks like he's 12 feet tall. I'm not used to being loomed over.
If you want an example, this is kind of how I'm appearing for Harrison.
Yeah, I can just see crotch now.
Hey, you lucky lady.
So lucky, I know.
Let's do movies then, because I feel that we'll get through those relatively quickly compared to the TV series.
I think so, yeah. So let's hit me with one of yours then. Where do you want to start?
Well, I did. I ranked mine. I went through kind of the 90s animated movies, and so I've done mine in an order that I probably would change if I had another look at it.
Ross is so organised.
I know. That's why I'd love homework. So I'll go with my 5, and I'll work down, I guess, to 1. Number 5, Toy Story 2.
Oh, okay. Good show.
Yeah, just under the wire at night. It came out in 1999.
Okay. See, a lot of mine on that late on. I think it was earlier shows and movies that made the impact because I was younger, I think. But I remember Toy Story 2 being quite almost adult in its concept.
Yeah, a little bit more. I think they're all great. I personally love all the Toy Stories. I mean, Pixar don't generally put a foot wrong. But yeah, Toy Story 2, if anything, just for that, the song that plays Jessie's song, like when she's remembering the little girl that played with her, and I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to ruin it. But
sing it.
When somebody loved you, and they just have this idea of just these toys being played with, basically traumatizing kids for generations. I mean, I know it did for me. Like when I first saw Toy Story.
Just remember, kids, you could be dropped at any moment.
But then, like, the main antagonist in that, spoilers, is Kelsey Grammer as like Prospector Pete, and his entire dream is to go to a museum where he can be looked at and worshipped in Japan for forever. Yeah. I mean, it's a mental movie.
It is. Yeah,
but it's the first time we see Woody and Buzz kind of being friends and everything, and you kind of have that collective and stuff. You get introduced to all the extra Woody toys and stuff, which, I mean, obviously from the first one, clearly Andy's mom is a single parent. She's raising a young family. She just moves house. I imagine if she knew she had a Woody toy worth God knows how many thousands of dollars, that thing would have been sold like that. Instantly.
Yeah. And Andy wouldn't have got the Woody Extended Universe collection or whatever. What do you think their universe is called for the Woody universe?
Oh, it was damn, I can't remember what the TV show was now. It's like Woody's Roundup or something, I want to say.
That's it, yeah.
If I pulled that out of thin air, I'm going to be happy with myself. But I think it was Woody's Roundup. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It sounds about right to me. Right. So how old were you when you watched that then?
So it was 99, so I would have been 11. Oh. Yeah.
I thought you were on standby then.
Just no, that was me doing maths. You just saw a piece of my brain break off as I tried to actually
power down.
Yeah. So I was 11 when that one came out. So still kind of, I mean, to be fair, there's animated movies now. You never stop kind of paying attention to this stuff and being influenced by them, especially even probably more so now. But yeah, that one back in the day, I think Toy Story came out in 93. So there was a bit of a gap between them all.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it was quite a gap.
Obviously, they're kind of learning. And I remember in Toy Story 2, there was the thing of they lost it halfway through. Like all the files were corrupted or something like that. And it was only due to the fact that one person had it on their home computer.
Holy shit,
they
really?
They had another copy of it that saved them something like 6 months worth of work or whatever. There's stories out there I recommend going to see. I'm kind of half remembering it. But yeah, that was... Yeah, so it kind of saved them from having to restart everything again.
Yeah. This is a message to you listeners out there who are creators. Yes, you. Back up your shit, because a hard drive will fuck itself for no reason. It's happened to me at uni. Just do it. Right now. Pause the episode. Back up your stuff. Welcome back. Let's carry on. Yeah, I mean, Toy Story 2 was great. I definitely stick with that. Yeah. I actually didn't think you were going to be pulling from 3D animation. I'm surprised.
No, all of it. I mean, because when you look at like animation, like 2D absolutely is fantastic. But and I look at the rest of my list, I think apart from one, they're all 2D with maybe some 3D elements because obviously they all kind of had it.
Yeah, most have it. Yeah,
especially around this time when it was first kind of coming in. But no, I mean it's all the same sort of. I've got somewhere. My animation book, my guide to animating. Here we go.
Props. He's got props.
The Animators Survival Kit, which is like
very cool.
The go-to. I've had this one since uni, and it basically, kind of gives you
everything. Yeah,
the rules and or everything for general sort of animation. And either it's 3D or 2D, it's the same general concept of it.
Yeah, same squash and stretch.
Yeah, adding weight to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love all that shit. I think it's great. Right, let's hit onto another one. I am going to strike you with the emotional bomb that is The Land Before Time.
Oh, I saw this on Twitter that you put it because I was you jumped with that one.
That was one of mine that was a big deal to me as a kid with Littlefoot and Petrie and Ducky and Sarah, who was a bit of a bitch, but she gets a pass.
It took me so long. It took me so long to realise that Sarah is a pun on Triceratops.
Oh my god! I didn't know till just now. Oh my god, that's amazing! Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
There we go.
If nothing else, we can probably end it now.
I think we're peaked. We're peaked early. What are we on? Like 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, Triceratops. I don't know if the rest are puns or anything, but yeah, Triceratops. But I do agree. Cool. It's a wonderful. But maybe one of the first ones, like Up, and all those, like the ones that break you in the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen The Land Before Time. Littlefoot's mum dies very, very quickly at the hands of a terrifying T-Rex.
Wait till you find out what happens to the rest of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, there's yeah, I know. Yeah, a couple of billion years down the line, there is a film about that as well. It was called Dinosaur. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, We're Back.
Wasn't that
the
Pixar?
Dinosaur story.
No, not We're Back. Wasn't that another cartoon one?
That was a cartoon one, yeah.
Oh, I mean, there was one just called Dinosaur that was in like it must have been 2002 or something.
Sort of like a live action but 3D.
Yeah, and I think it ended with the meteorite. It either ended or started with the meteorite. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it began with like a pre-meteorite hitting.
Yeah, wasn't it about them trying to get away from the
I think so, yeah.
disaster or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that was dark. You see, like these kind of things that they made for kids. I think we don't realize how dark a lot of the stories were. Like Land Before Time was quite dark. What it was, I mean, it had a very dark visual tone, and all the color palettes were all moody. These were like purples and dark greens, and there was do you remember the dinosaurs with the domed heads that hit the heads together,
smashing the hell out of each other?
That scene was fucking terrifying as a kid, like genuinely really scary. And I know that they played it down the darkness later on, like after I think it was Land Before Time 3 or 4.
I think so, because I think it's like I want to say 9.
I think there's 15 now.
There's 15.
There's definitely more than 10. I'm sure, because I'm sure we had them like I always remember having number 1 and that was it, and then going to my cousins and they had like 4, 5, and 6, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
there's 6,
yeah.
and
like
then
an alternate dimension.
Yeah, and then I had to like track down the other ones to even get to see them. Land Before Time. Let's see how many there are. How many do you think they've cranked out by now?
Well, now that you told me that, I mean, I don't know. I'll say 13. Lucky.
It was an animated series as well. Okay, so we've got Land Before Time, which is actually 1988. I would like to clarify that, but I had it on video in the 90s, so that's why. I think that class is. Come on, Ross, give me a pass.
Films come out when we watch them.
Yeah, it was my birthday, Ross. I should get a pass. It was also my birthday yesterday, so it doesn't count anymore. I can't use that trick.
This is your birthday present, then.
Yeah, thank you, Ross. Okay, I'm going to count the second one then, because that was 94. Okay,
that's fine. That's fine.
So we got The Land Before Time, The Great Valley Adventure, The Time of the Great Giving. That sounds a bit sexual. Journey Through the Mists, The Mysterious Island, which I really liked. That was number 5. The Secret of Saurus Rock, The Stone of Cold Fire, The Big Freeze, Journey to Big Water, The Great Long Necks. This is now 10 we're up to. Invasion of the Tiny Sauruses.
Sure.
I think I need to see that one. That's 11. The Great Day of the Flyers, that's 12. The Wisdom of Friends, 13. And Journey of the Brave in 2016, 14 movies.
Wow, 2016. They were still pumping them out.
Yep, and there was a video game, Land Before Time game, and the Land Before Time series between 2007 and 2008. Wow. Executive producers Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
All those guys.
Yeah, all those guys, along with Don Bluth. Like, Don Bluth is someone who I didn't realize what an impact that director obviously had on my childhood, because there's a lot of his films that have fallen into my list. I don't know if you want to hit on another one. I don't know if you have any Don Bluth in yours.
I actually don't, but I'm aware, like, he is he's an influence. Like, he's the man. To be fair, I've not seen probably the one that, like, I've not seen Secret of Nim. I haven't seen that either. Which is like the, heralded, and I know that it's going to be awesome, but it's just not one that I've got round to watching.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should watch that one night with the community, and we'll have a chat about that.
But I'm aware. I mean, he's one of the greats, isn't he?
He is. But anyway, hit me with one of yours. What else you got?
Okay, so next one, and this will touch on what is in my top animated series as well, is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that one. That's brilliant. Yes. Tell me why. What does it do for you?
I mean, obviously, Batman animated series, spoilers, is my number one animated TV series. It's as perfect as you're going to get for a comic adaptation, and Bruce Timm and all those guys, doing just excellent work. And obviously it features into like even the video games, like casting Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill in those roles. And when I read a Batman comic, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice. So it's it's just my history. But yeah, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, it's just a bizarre way of making it as well. Like originally it was going to be a TV movie, and then partway through they were like, actually, this is really good. We did a good thing. Yeah, we did really good. And so they pumped more money into it, and they had like that cool kind of 3D intro where you were flying through Gotham and stuff. And the intro is very long. I mean, if you wanted to watch it, I'd recommend possibly having a quick look and then skipping ahead about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. I remember it being slow. I remember as a kid having it. I had it on VHS, and I hadn't seen much of the series itself. Right. Because I think that was because what year was the series? Have you got a date?
The series. You know what? I've got them for everyone else, but I haven't got it for that. But I think it was that was Batman Mask of the Phantasm was 1993. So I think it was like 92 to. I mean, obviously, it kept going with like the New Adventures of Batman and Robin and Justice League and everything. But I think it was like early to mid 90s. It was.
I think that's why it was a bit before me, because obviously, if that film came out in 92 or 93, it would have come out on VHS like a year or two later.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I probably would have had it when I was like 4, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't see much of the series, but the film made quite an impact. Like I found it it was one of my most adult cartoons. And I even like recognized that as a kid. Like I knew it was quite dark in its concept. It had, did it have Scarecrow in as well? Briefly.
I think it was, if he was in, it was very, very briefly, because it kind of focused on, obviously, you had the new character of the Phantasm, and then Joker was a heavy part in it. And they kind of did like almost like Batman, the movie, obviously came out a couple of years before that, and they kind of gave Jack Napier as the Joker, and they kind of did that a little bit with this one as well, where they like showed him as a gangster or something.
Yeah, they touched on that.
Like kind of creepy like that. But just in general, like it has one of the best Batman just moments in it where he first kind of dons the cowl, and you've got Alfred behind him, you've got that music playing, and I mean, obviously it's silly because it is. Like, as much as I love this stuff with all my heart, it is silly. The idea of like a grown man and his butler in a cave as he dresses up in his outfit, and he looks behind him, and Alfred hands him the cowl, and he takes it and he puts it over his head, and he turns around, and then it's a close up of his eyes, and Alfred's like, my God. And his eyes kind of like
do a thing. Squint,
and he's just him like squinting at Alfred.
How am I squinting my mask? It makes no sense.
I'm so angry. And then he wanders off to be Batman and stuff, and it's like all in flashback. But it's just part of that universe, and I think that the Bruce Timm animated universe is it's wonderful. So
it's a very particular style. Like it feels like remember the early Superman cartoon?
Well, they kind of linked in together. It was because it had the Batman animated series, and I think it was the New Adventures of Superman was the animated series for that, which I didn't watch as much. And then they synergized to get into Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock.
Static Shock. Yeah. Voiced by Hermes Conrad from Futurama.
And that's great. They had a episode of that. It's like Once and Future King or something, where they're time traveling. You see Static Shock as like an adult now, and it's older. Obviously, Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond was great. The edgiest of them. The edgiest intro I've ever seen.
They see your daddy's Batman.
Yeah, I think it even said like apathy on the screen, and it was like flashing random stuff.
Yeah, it was a good song though. Leto's Joker was like damaged on his forehead, so you know he's damaged.
Yeah, I would like to see a Batman Beyond as like a film. I would love to see like a sci-fi like future one, and I imagine we will at some point with an old Bruce. And I know we are getting
you are kind
Michael Keaton, aren't we?
They've done a few in the Arrowverse, like the CW shows. They had a Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover where Kevin Conroy showed up as Batman. That's a nice touch. Yeah, in like the Alex Ross Kingdom Come like exoskeleton that he has around himself and all that. And then obviously Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman. It's a lot of more Batmans than you can stick a shit at.
More Batman. I know everyone's getting all these cross universe things. They're just trying to have like all the different characters from all the different films.
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing, to be honest. It's not.
I'll watch
a bad
all
thing.
of them.
Yeah. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to watch superhero stuff all the time. So I'm happy with that. I am going to hit you with my next film. Okay. So I am going to touch on Don Bluth, as I said, and it's only really because I didn't realize, like I said before, how many films he'd made that I really loved. And this one is American Tail.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that? Fievel Mouskowitz. It was Mouskowitz, wasn't it? That was his name.
Yeah, because they were not subtle in that movie.
No, they weren't. I mean, this is another instance where Disney on one side doing like Grimm's stories and fairy tales, and then Don Bluth is hitting like immigration to get away from the war to America. And what else? All dogs go to heaven.
Corruption in the system, and rats, like cats posing as rats, and it's wonderful.
Well, that's like crooked cops, cats posing as rats. It's like there's all sorts you can read into. Yeah, really it was a great movie though. It's
when Fievel goes missing in the water. That stays with you as a kid.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it was heartbreaking, and I always remember the scene with the gramophone.
Yeah,
and with the music playing, and he falls down it, doesn't he? And then, the terrifying rat. Yeah, the big the machine
the one
thing
at the
that
end where they make like I can't really call it now, but very similar to the end of Bug's Life. I guess when they make the fake animal to scare off the bigger one or whatever.
But
that
nightmarish though.
They have a really good job with all those Don Bluth ones, from what I've seen of them, and I guess generally Disney as well. Do really good cold and warm. Like when you see those films, and when you feel when Fievel's cold, and then when he warms up, you feel that as well, like through the lighting, through the animation and everything. That's what I always took away from that one. I guess Land Before Time as well. They do that really well. Like
they do,
feel the shivers coming off of them.
You can. And like, do you remember, did you watch All Dogs Go to Heaven as well?
I did not. I've seen parts of it.
Okay.
But I've not watched that one all the way through.
So that was a VHS that again was just in my house along with like The Rescuers, that kind of thing. It was like, I had a collection of VHSs that were the most watched videos. And that definitely was one of them, All Dogs Go to Heaven, which is weird. Because again, it's quite a sad film. I didn't realize to look in this that it was a Don Bluth film. I didn't actually even know.
Yeah,
I was quite surprised.
When you look at them again, you do see it, don't they? Because they have that sort of
similar style,
that same sort of look. But I always go with that one because I have seen a bit of it. There is a hell, like there is a dog hell. So the title's complete bullshit.
Yeah, I never really thought
there
about
is
that.
a dog hell, unless it's one of those situations where all dogs go to heaven. Eventually,
yeah.
So
you stop shitting in the corner.
Yeah. Then you get to go to heaven.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Not to pull on that side of an animated movie from 20 plus years ago, but anyway.
Yeah, not that you're picking into it, like I'm going to write to Don Bluth's son and say, hey, sort your fucking stories out.
Yeah.
Hit me with another, Ross. Have you got any other films you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I know we're ticking on, but Nightmare Before Christmas is
very
my
good.
next
one.
It's obviously stop motion.
Yeah.
But I saw that one in the cinema, which might be, I think one of the other ones I saw in the cinema, but not when it came out. This is the only one of my top 5 that I actually saw in the cinema when it did come out. And just blew my mind.
So that must have been great in the cinema. I'd never got to see that. And it's one of the most original like art direction films. It's got one of those stylized look, obviously from Tim Burton, that who did he direct it, or was it someone else, that one?
No, I was just getting the details up because it was Henry Selick who directed it. It's like from the mind of Tim Burton, and it's all his kind of designs and everything. But I think it's possibly on one of those how the movies were made on Netflix. They go into it or something like that, where they refer to this and they talk about how Tim Burton wasn't on set as much. And Henry Selick was the driving force of it and did all this stuff. But it was a collaborative effort. But you've got to slap Tim Burton's name on it because at that point he had it was 93, so he'd had Batman come out. He'd had Pee-wee's Big Adventure come out. I think Batman Returns was on the way. So obviously he was interested in that. But Henry Selick.
Yeah, it's just got such a specific style, hasn't it? And it's one of those things where it's on the edge of not being for kids again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's so on the cusp of like a man is taking a brain out of his own head and building a woman out of pieces.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, it's so weird that it's like, I think it almost scared me as a kid. I remember being a little unnerved by it.
I think that's the idea of it. I mean, they go through at the beginning where you're meeting all the creatures and everything. I think it is supposed to be scary, but it's the same as going on a roller coaster or anything. You know, it's that fun, scary. And I remember watching it for the first time, and you get to that moment where Jack finds the trees with all the different worlds based on the holidays, and that was just, it completely blew my mind away, because he was like, well, you go anywhere, you can do this. Obviously, he only goes to one, and I guess the others go to, because they kidnapped the Easter Bunny at one point, so they go to that one. But I think there was like they had St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
I can't remember the other ones now, but yeah, they
was there a Thanksgiving one.
Can't remember
Thanksgiving.
Yes, there was Thanksgiving. They had a turkey in there as well. So yeah, just it boggled my mind. But that one, wonderful, and that one had a video game as well. Only one, as I can I see it here, because I haven't I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, yeah, me neither. I know. Like the guys from Shot Select didn't like it. We all know they weren't fans. A lot of people do really love it. I know my brother's a big fan.
Yeah, fanatical. And it's one of those games where when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's like Final Fantasy, but with Disney characters. Oh, I'll get into that. And then I look at it now and try and read the synopsis of it, and it's impenetrable. Like I just can't.
It's so convoluted. Yeah. And there's so many like interlinking books and like mangas as well. Like I've got some from my brother for his like birthday and stuff, and one of them's like something 2.5 Redux, and I'm like, what are you doing with this story? And I don't even know where to start. Everyone's like, oh, you should play it. I'm like, where the fuck do I start? Like I can't do that.
No, it's too much of a commitment. So as far as I'm aware, there's only one game. The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge.
Oh right, okay, so as in Oogie Boogie.
Yeah, so it's set like a year after the events of the film. I did look at it earlier, but I got rid of it now. But so after the events of the film, and the kids from it, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, resurrect Oogie Boogie, and he decides that he's going to kill Santa. In the meantime, Jack is given something called like a soul capture. It's like a electric whip that he gets, and
okay,
yeah. And so he goes around whipping folks. I've not watched a video for this one because again, I need more time to research. But so there's only one game from that one, as far as I could tell.
Right, very good. Well, I'm surprised that they never touched on that film universe again.
No,
it's something I think. It's one of those things that I think we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember what else we were talking about, where as much as you want it to happen, and as much as you think it would probably be a good idea, it will always fail in comparison to the original.
Yeah, I think so. Especially
better to leave you wanting more
as well. Like,
it
looked completely different, even if they tried to, because people are doing incredible stuff with like Leica Studios, which I almost put kind of, tried to like weasel it into it. Obviously, it's 90s, and I don't think Leica Studios was even anywhere near formed at that point.
No.
You like need somebody like that to do it.
Like the guys who did. Is that who did Kibo and the Two Strings?
Yeah, they did Kuo. They did Paranorman. Coraline.
That's it. Yeah, that's the other one. I remember that. I saw that at the cinema. If anyone hasn't seen these films, check them out. They're very, very good.
The Box Trolls is. I did not expect that one. The Missing Link. Most recent, I think, was the most recent one. Again, just wonderful. Like,
that was on Netflix, wasn't it?
I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
but
sure it is. Yeah, I watched it.
So they're like basically the Pixar of the stop motion world.
Yeah,
just excellent movies.
There's a brilliant YouTube video that shows Kibo, Kubo, isn't it? Not
Kubo,
Kibo. Kubo and the Two Strings, and it's like a stop motion from the side of the set where you can see the people moving with the stop motion. They're like like the flickering dead fast, but the motion of the creature that's moving is correct, and it's so cool to see a person in stop motion as well at the same time. It sort of settles it in your mind just how much work actually goes into a project like that.
It's incredible. I mean, when you think about it, it's the same for doing 2D animation. You know, you're drawing on a piece of cell shading and all that, kind of doing it through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's ridiculous, and just the idea that at any moment something could go wrong. There could be a hurricane. Something could knock something over, and then shit,
me cells. Everything blows away. Imagine that's the thing. Like if they do stop motion and stuff in like Japan when they do like the Godzilla stuff, they have so many earthquakes. That is such a gamble.
Well, that's why
the whole city starts going.
You've got to have just a guy in a suit then.
Yeah, maybe that's why they did it. Just get the guy in the suit.
They probably did. They probably had to look at like stop motion animation and been like, well, at least this way it doesn't look like it. But then, they were like, do you know how many earthquakes we have?
Yeah, better get that rubber suit out again.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hit you with another one of mine. This one is a deep cut, Ross. I don't even know if you'll have heard of it. I don't know if many of you listeners out there or viewers will have heard of this. This is called Freddy as FR07. Have you heard of this?
I've not, no. That is the deepest.
I'm kind of glad it is. I'm kind of glad you haven't heard of it. So I'm going to give you like the basic synopsis, I guess. It's about a prince in medieval France,
right,
who has magic powers, and so does the king, and so does the king's evil sister. And she decides to kill the parents of the prince, turn the boy into a frog, and he just escapes and lives the life as a frog for a while.
Right.
And then he becomes a secret agent, kind of like 007.
Sure.
Because he grows up, because obviously he's not really a frog, he's a boy, so he hits puberty and his frog balls drop and his frog Adam's apple gets bigger. What? That isn't in it. I'm adding lore. Ross, I'm adding lore. And there's actually some shots in this that I think I thought they'd stolen from Aladdin.
Oh, it could
but I think this was before Aladdin.
I've just having a look. So it was 92 that it came
92,
out.
yeah.
And so,
this was another random VHS that I had, and he's got quite like an iconic image. I don't know if you can see an image of him. So he's got like
and they both came out 92, so they would have been made at a similar time.
Oh wow, okay. There's a particular shot when the sorceress is in like almost like a tornado, and she's reaching up like all the cosmic powers, like Jafar, then he turns into the genie at the end, and it looks exactly the same. So I don't know if someone moved studio and took that idea with them, but it seems that way.
I mean, Disney do it to themselves all the time when you see like Sword of the Stone and Jungle Book, and there's other kind of those, especially for the lower ones, swiping, like just taking previous animation overlay, and so maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Disney even did that thing with, was it The White Lion, a Japanese film?
Yeah,
he turned into
Kimba.
Kimba. They turned into Simba and the Lion King.
Yeah.
Which is very, very on the nose for taking some ideas, Disney, you naughty, naughty people. So this frog guy, as I was saying, he's got his flat cap, his poofy leather jacket, his tight stonewashed jeans, Chelsea boots, and topped off with a red scarf. Yeah, and he's also French and voiced by Ben Kingsley. We've got Jenny Agutter in there. Brian Blessed is the bad guy. So we've got a big booming voice. This is my first instance of Mr. Blessed, and I will never forget it. He's got Jonathan Pryce as well, and Nigel Hawthorne, who was actually Frith in Watership Down. And we all remember Watership Down. We may get into that in a moment. I'm not sure. It wasn't on my top list.
It's not on mine because I've never seen it. Any version of it.
It's scarring. It's not for kids. It's terrifying. How it was on the BBC in like the daytime, I do not know. Maybe check it out. I'd be interested to hear your opinion. Kids were tougher
back in the day, apparently. I don't know. Yeah. Just like we were ready to get broken.
He also becomes best friends with Nessie because he saves Nessie, which is pretty weird. And this whole film is actually on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. But it's just a very unusual film. I don't know anyone else who has seen it. Everyone I've spoken to, no one seems to know about this film.
The picture of the frog that I'm seeing on Wikipedia, it does ring a bell. But I've definitely never seen it. I don't think I've seen one shot of animation of it.
No, but the animation's actually quite good. I was surprised. I almost expected it to be a Don Bluth after all the other ones I liked were. But it's not. It's another director whose name I can't remember, actually. I meant to write it down and I didn't.
It's John Ak- Akavasiki?
He's Italian, I think. I'm sure it's an Italian name.
John. It was John. John's on it.
It was John. Our John.
Yeah.
Great job, John, with your weird frog secret agent. But it was good. So I recommend checking that one out if anyone wants to see a weird frog secret agent. Do you have another film for us, Russ, before we move on to our cartoons?
Yes, well, I'll do, because I've got my final two, but luckily we've already mentioned one of mine, so I'll it's the completely original idea of The Lion King from 1994 that is not stolen from anything.
Nope. A great film, though. Even though it's stolen, still a great film.
It is. It's pretty, That's my favourite Disney one, at least. I mean,
also, soundtrack by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Got to see it live, and they actually brought on the guy who sang it.
Oh, really?
And he sung it. Not obviously Elton John sang some of it, but the main guy was Bohenya. They brought him on, and they brought his daughter on, and you think he is a good singer. Holy damn, she has got some pipes. She can, and they were doing beautiful harmonies. Sort of the Echo Arena in Liverpool.
Awesome.
One of the best things I've seen. And they didn't say, now we're going to do The Lion King. They just had the stage dark, and then the sun rose at the back of the stage, and I just got goosebumps thinking about it, guys. So much goosebumps.
It's so good. I saw it in London on the show. I don't think any of the original members of the cast were in it, though. But
was that that's in the stage show you saw?
Yeah, the stage show where they walk through the crowd and everything. It's the giant animals and stuff. I mean, awesome. And I got to see it when they re-released it in 3D. 3D, where it's just kind of layers, flat layers and stuff. But I wanted to see it because I didn't get to see it in the cinema when it first came out, but I went to go see it. But that was I'll skip past that because I've already done it and go straight to my number one, which is The Iron Giant.
Oh, a wonderful, wonderful movie. Wonderful. Wasn't it made like the guy who was making it said he was making something else? And he made Iron Giant instead, and then was like, Bird, I made this.
It's Brad Bird, who obviously has done tons of amazing stuff. Not at least The Incredibles and stuff like that, and he's worked on The Simpsons and incredible.
Was it him who did The Incredibles? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Brad Bird did The Incredibles as well, and he voiced Edna Mode.
Oh, okay, amazing! I love Edna Mode. She's brilliant.
But so he did The Iron Giant. I think you're right. I think it was kind of the case of, because the general concept of that one, as he kind of sells it now, is like, what if a gun had a conscience? And didn't want to be a gun, and that's kind of as it goes from there. And it's one of the best. The animation's beautiful in it. Everybody's incredible voice cast, and absolutely destroys me towards the end. Vin Diesel in one of his first.
Vin Diesel voicing the Iron Giant. Which was a shock when I found that out. I had no clue until I was like 20 that was him. I think it's just because I didn't know who Vin Diesel was until that point. Obviously, then I went to do Groot, and he's done pretty well in his voice roles, unusual roles, to say the least. But he's brilliant in that.
You can find there's behind the scenes of him doing it and everything, probably all on YouTube now.
Yeah,
but there's one incredible shot that will always stay with me of him kind of in a recording studio, and he's kind of doing breathing exercises, really getting into it, and then he kind of like opens his eyes, looks at the script, and goes, "Rock." That's it.
That's it. Perfect. Nailed it.
Perfect.
Next take.
That's my number one, at least 90s animated movie.
Yeah. No, that is a great shout, an absolute great shout. I actually forgot all about that movie, but it was one that I did have on VHS, and it was one of my most watched. There was a post out recently, I can't remember who posted it, asking what was people's most watched films of all time. I think my most watched animated movie, and possibly my top, like I didn't write mine into like a top five, like Ross. I just brought up some of the ones that I wanted to talk about. But I think Aladdin for me is probably my most watched animated movie. It was one that I saw in the cinema. I cried in the cinema because the what was it called? The Cave of Wonders was so scary.
Yeah, terrifying.
Because it was so loud. Because I was like, I must have been 3 or 4. Like I was very young. No amount of mint puppets could get me through the Cave of Wonders. But it's been, it's up there. I watch it every year. Me and a friend of mine, Sophie, shout out to you, Sophie. Whenever we meet up, and we're at home or at hers, we usually watch Aladdin together. It's just, everything about it, the music, the animation, the characters. Obviously, the legend that is Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That film wouldn't be half as good without him.
No.
It's astounding.
It would have just been a good animated movie as opposed to like an absolute classic.
Yeah, and it's because of his performance though that influenced a lot of the animation as well. So even just his voice talent made the animation better because the animators were like, "Oh, that's actually quite a good idea. I better animate that."
Well, I love when you read the behind the scenes of like, because he wanted to obviously do the movie and he did it as Robin Williams. Basically, it is Robin Williams just as a genie, but he didn't want to be on any of the promotional materials. He didn't want it to be sold as Aladdin starring Robin Williams.
I believe so.
And so it was like a deal where you can find online, like he couldn't take up more than 2/3 of the poster. That was the deal with like the genie character couldn't take up any more than that. And so they do it where at least one of the posters is like a massive lamp that takes up the majority with like Aladdin over it. And then like a big old genie face. And then the rest of it is all the other, Jafar and Aladdin and Abu and all that around. So technically he only takes up a small amount, but it's also the lamp. Which is
the lamp, which is obviously part of the character. The lamp comes with the genie. It's his itty bitty living space.
So I found that fascinating that he didn't want it to be kind of sold on his name. But I mean, the second anybody sees that movie, obviously you know what it's about.
Yeah, they know what it is. Yeah. So let's talk some shows. We've got to talk into some shows because we are 41 minutes in.
I know we're going to have to go through quick.
We've not touched our shows.
I had top 5 and then I've got additional. So I'm going to just stick with the 5.
Yeah. Because I thought about this episode when we were chatting before. This is behind the scenes. This might get cut. Who knows? I was thinking, should we do like a half an hour episode or like a 40 minutes? But no, we're going long. We're going to do it. Maybe I'll chop it in 2. Who knows? Maybe I'll cut it in 2. We'll see. So, would you like to go first as the esteemed guest?
Okay, so I will go with, as I've already mentioned it, my number 1, Batman the Animated Series. You can get that one out of the way because we've already spoken about it.
Nice and easy.
And we mentioned about computer games, tons of computer games based on specifically the animated series. But even then, like all the Arkham games, is Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back again.
Still
for
the original voice cast, and very
good.
Good games, I believe. Yeah, a lot of people really rate them high. It never captured me personally, but a lot of people love them, and I appreciate them for what they are.
That's another one that I've got. Another prop. The Art of Rocksteady's
Oh, nice!
Batman.
The Art of Rocksteady's Batman. For any listeners not watching on YouTube,
yeah,
those books are really cool. I've got quite a few of those myself, and it's so nice to see all the details that go into the art behind the games like that. Like my brother got the Dead Space one. And that one's like, I was gonna say it's visceral, but that's literally the studio who made it. Like, there's so much. It is visceral. Literally visceral, blood and gore on every page. But yeah, if you can pick up any of those books, I highly recommend it, listeners. Definitely one for that. So, which was the cartoon you wanted to bring up instead of the Batman?
Well, I'll keep that one as my top 5, but I will to streamline things. I will go to the next one, Gargoyles.
Yes! Oh, so good. I used to love Gargoyles as a kid. That was, again, felt like Batman.
Yeah.
Felt more adult. It was a little darker.
Yeah.
Was it the same studio who made Batman?
No, it was a Disney show, the Gargoyles, because the whole series is, I think, it's on Disney Plus now. I'm tempted because I never completed it. I'm just hoping 3 seasons and 78 episodes of Gargoyles.
That's a lot of episodes for 3 seasons.
Yeah, it was a long running one, and I think I've maybe done half of it.
Okay, I'd like to go back and watch them. I remember that also had a great intro with a really like dramatic reading, like Warriors by Night.
Exactly, that was Keith David who voiced Goliath in it as well.
Yes, it was Keith David.
One of the best voice actors.
One of the best.
One of the best actors.
He really is good, and like I first saw him in The Thing, and I didn't realize that was him because obviously he's so young in it, and I've only seen him as an older guy in more modern times. My first instance of him being like, oh, this guy's voice is cool, was obviously the Arbiter in Halo 2, which then he was in the late ones as well. I think he was in 3 and 5, I think. But he's done a lot of voice acting now.
Tons. I mean, why wouldn't you? So yeah, that was a big one, and that had a game as well on Genesis, which I checked out, and it's not a bad looking game for coming out in 95. I think I've actually
played it. I think I played it. Yeah.
And another fun thing, they're not actually gargoyles. Because on a side of a building, gargoyles have to have a spout of water coming out of them. So technically, they are grotesques.
Oh.
So,
We better write to Disney and tell them to fucking change the name.
tired of bullshit. So yeah.
Yeah, Ross is over here, attacking Don Bluth. He's attacking Disney. He's biting the ankles big, trying to get into the animation game today.
Yep. I'll teach him.
Amazing. You'll teach him, man. Yeah, that was a great show, though. Like, I did really enjoy that. And it was one of the shows that didn't... there was a couple of shows that didn't treat you as a kid watching them. Like, it seemed to appreciate you, or at least want you to watch it as being a little bit older.
Yeah, totally. For a Saturday morning cartoon, it was... I think there was even one episode that's banned now, which I've got a
really?
It was a banned episode where one of the gargoyles like shoots Elisa in there because obviously she's got a gun.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And he's playing around with the gun and everything, and he flat out shoots her. And I guess that one, I can't remember if it came out around the time of, one of the many shootings that unfortunately America has. Or it was just in general. But yeah, that episode got pulled. I don't know if that one... I don't think it's on Disney Plus, even that one.
No, I doubt it will be. No. One of mine, actually, is like... One of the reasons I like it, it's the Spiderman cartoon that was on Fox Kids. And the reason I like that was because it treated the kids like show formula. Like, it wasn't a new adventure. Well, it was an adventure every episode, but it wasn't a new story every episode. It was... a series had a seasonal arc that was an entire season of like one of the comic storylines, wasn't it? So like one of them, my favorite growing up was the Venom storyline.
Absolutely.
And that's why I like Venom so much. And then Carnage obviously turned up. And I think that the reason I like that was because it felt more adult, that it treated you that you were intelligent enough to follow a storyline for more than a 20-minute episode or a 10-minute episode, like some cartoons were, Yeah,
like, absolutely. It was one of those where, Batman the Animated Series was dark in tone and looking, the style of it was very dark. But Spider-Man is bright and colourful and everything, but they can also do kind of actual stories, basically.
Yeah. And it was good. Like, again, another astounding intro music. This is like, that's up there for one of the best intros with like X-Men as well, like the X-Men cartoon.
Absolutely, that kind of guitar riff.
It's the nostalgia for these Spider-Man cartoon, like particularly that one, that's made me love Spider-Man so much even now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was because of that and the way it pulled on my childhood, I think, that was what made me cry in like the later Marvel films. It's like, don't let me go, Mr. Stark. I don't want to go. It was like, don't do that to me.
And spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Endgame if you live under a rock and don't, have Disney Plus. But when he comes back, that only matters because of everything they've set up previously. And people have issues with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. If you look into it, like there's some people who are in camp. Tobey Maguire, there's some that are Andrew Garfield. But I think Tom Holland is pretty as perfect as you're going to get for that character.
I think he's been the best one so far. Like, I wasn't a fan of Andrew Garfield, really. Tobey Maguire was the one that it was like, well, it was just the first instance, the first one you see. It was kind of like me seeing Val Kilmer as Batman.
Sure.
Like, because I hadn't seen the Tim Burton ones.
Yep.
I didn't know about Michael Keaton as Batman, so it was just like, oh, Val Kilmer's Batman.
That's Batman then. Yeah, absolutely. For me,
he's a bit bland, but he's Batman.
For me, it's like, because Tobey Maguire is, I don't know how old he was in it, but he's clearly an old, like he's playing sort of 20 years old when he's clearly 30-something. And there's that moment in the second Spider-Man movie where he's fighting Doc Ock and then they're like picking him up and moving him. So, it's like, oh my God, he's just a kid. It's like, he's not. He's a 40-year-old man. Like,
he's got a mortgage.
So I have trouble getting over that. People love that Spider-Man 2 movie, and I might get into trouble, but I really can't stand that second Spider-Man movie.
Really? It's the one I don't remember very much, to be honest.
If you pick that movie apart, which, sure, you shouldn't pick apart any superhero movie, but you can really pick that one apart, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I just know Joey Diaz is in it, and I quite like it for that.
I'm sorry, that's me searching. No, I can't remember, but fair enough.
I remember where he's the New Yorker on the train that he stands in front of everyone, and he's like, "If you've got to go through all of us," that's Joey Diaz looking very young.
Yeah. Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
brilliant comedian. Very good lad.
But still, rubbish.
Yeah, man. Hit me with another cartoon.
Okay, so this one is Extreme Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. So this is one that has eluded me slightly. I'd seen a bit of it. I have more interaction with the toys because a friend, like someone who used to babysit me, her son had all the toys, and they were so good.
I mean, it was definitely made for toys. Like, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, that one, I even got it up because like the descriptions of them, I just want to, because obviously it's a new gang, so like it carries on from real Ghostbusters. You've got Egon in there, and then you have, bearing in mind that this came out one season, 40 episodes in 97, so not a long running show.
No.
But this is like, people got angry. I say people, barely got angry at the all-female Ghostbusters that came out. This was the first example of kind of tweaking the formula to make it. So the description from Wikipedia is of the new Ghostbusters. These are Kylie Griffin, who is a goth genius and expert on the occultism. Eduardo Riviera, a cynical Latino slacker, which also cynical Latino slacker would be an excellent name for a band.
Definitely, yeah.
Garrett Miller, a young white paraplegic athlete who uses a wheelchair, and Roland Jackson, a studious African-American machinery whiz. So that's like...
Nice.
Yeah.
They're ticking all the boxes.
They're ticking all the boxes. I do. I
ticking all the boxes.
And when I look now at kind of the person I am, I realize, like, oh yeah, so I was given this stuff, and I love this program, and that's, this stuff is not new. When people say, oh, it's woke, because they had this character in there. This has been going on for years with people,
Yeah, wokeness has been around a long time.
Yeah. So I did. I like that show. I didn't really watch the real Ghostbusters, like the first animated series, as much.
No, I didn't. No, I think I only saw the odd episode.
Yeah. That was like me. But this one I did. If I didn't watch all the episodes, I watched an awful lot of them because it was kind of, inverted commas, it was cooler than the other one. It was more made for me. In fact, in my head, when I was remembering it, I remembered it as Extreme Ghostbusters without the E at the front.
Oh, wow. Very 90s.
How extreme
yeah,
extreme. It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it is spelled correctly, so I'll give them that.
Yeah. Very good, man. My next one, I hope, is one of yours. This might be my top. This might be my top cartoon. It's SpongeBob. It
was in my additional. The only reason I didn't put it in my main one is because it's still going.
It is still going.
Like, it was 90s. Like, I have The Simpsons in there as well, and South Park. Like, these are 90s cartoons, and then, forever.
And then some.
But
still
SpongeBob's fantastic.
SpongeBob is probably one of the only cartoons that I remember seeing the trailer for. And I think, who was it now? It must have been, because my little brother was born at that point. So it would have been me, my dad, and my brother. And I remember my dad turning to me when we saw the trailer on Nickelodeon. And he was like, very Mufasa-like. It was like, son, we're going to have to watch this. Like, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I'm down for watching cartoons. Dad, you know that?
Yeah.
And the first episode was like queued up, ready to go. And it was like the new show, SpongeBob, starting now. And then the intro music hit. And it was like, what are we in for right now?
Yeah.
And that first episode of feeding the anchovies at the Krusty Krab with the music from Tiny Tim. Do you remember the song?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I have watched quite a few episodes of SpongeBob, but I retain very little of it. It's so much.
It's like, which song is it now? I'm sure it's like pushing to the having a wonderful time. It's like the weirdest song. And I remember Mr. Krabs being where he's like, can you smell it? That smelly smell that smells smelly. And then his anchovies come like flooding through the doors. And the Rockbottom episode was one of the ones that always stuck with me. I don't know if you ever saw Rockbottom, where he stays on the bus for too long.
No, I don't remember that one. There's only one that I remember, but I don't get that one now.
It's like Gloveland or something. Patrick and SpongeBob go to Gloveland, which is like a theme park based around this weird glove character.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob falls asleep on the bus, I think, and ends up going to Rockbottom, which is essentially like the Marianas Trench. So like he goes past Bikini Bottom and then the road just like drops off like at night, like straight down. And he ends up stuck at a bus station overnight. And they have an accent where they blow a raspberry between each word. And he's like, oh, when's the next bus to Bikini Bottom? And he's like, I can't understand your accent. It's so fucking good. And I don't know why it was so funny. And it's just like, it's getting so dark at the bottom of the sea. And it's like, this is advanced darkness. And he's just like stood in the dark with his little torch. And he puts it in his head and he lights up like out of his holes like a glowing thing. And the magic pencil episode as well. That might be, I think it's called Doodle Bob, where an artist is, he's on the top of the sea drawing the sunset or drawing an island. And he drops his pencil overboard and it sinks right to the bottom and sticks in the ground. And Patrick and SpongeBob find it. And whatever they draw seems to come to life. So like they draw Patrick a mustache and it's on his face, but then it flies away. And then he draws money and the money runs off.
Right.
And then Patrick draws SpongeBob. Or SpongeBob draws, but one of them draws an amalgamation basically of SpongeBob. And it comes to life. And they call him like the Frankendoodle because he basically terrorizes the town of Bikini Bottom, and they're trying to rub him out with the rubber on the end of the pencil. It's that's what you have to go back and watch that. Ross.
I think I might. I mean, God knows. That must have been going on for years. I mean, I've seen the movies. The movies are great as well.
They are. I've not seen the latest one. I've not seen the latest one yet.
That's good. It's kind of there's a spin-off series that's happening.
With
based
Patrick,
on
right?
It's like them at camp. Like as kids or something. So this is like a backdoor pilot into that. Like all them as like, it's like Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies. Yes. Yeah, that was also a good cartoon. Yeah,
but for SpongeBob at camp. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It is an awesome show. I mean, was it Clancy
Brilliant
Brown?
Show. Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs. Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Money. Why did you do this wonderful thing? Because I like money. Yeah, he's great in that. Such a weird role, like after being the bad guy in Highlander.
I know.
And then going into a regular
Starship
voice
Troopers
cast.
And
Mr. Starship
Krabs.
Troopers, yeah, that's right, yeah. Who was he in that? Was he Mr. Zim? His name was Zim.
Oh, something Zim, yeah. I think he had a couple of, because he got demoted at one point. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's in Justice League as well. He's Lex Luthor in the Justice League animated series as well.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he has he has an amazing moment where he like takes over. I mean, it's not him at this point, I guess, but he's like he takes over the Flash's body, and so he's in the bathroom at the Justice League headquarters, and he has a moment where he's like, "Well, at least I'll get to find out who the Flash is." And he takes his mask off and he looks in the mirror and goes, "I have no idea who this is."
Really? I have no idea. Fair enough, man. That's awesome. Hit me with another of your cartoon mysteries.
Well, I will go. I do have one. Real Monsters.
Oh, nice. From Nickelodeon back in the days. Yes, that was a great one. That was back in the days of like Thornberries.
Yeah.
And Rocko's Modern Life. So why did this one hit with you so strong? It
was weird because like at the time it came out, I didn't have like Nickelodeon or anything. I didn't have Sky. We had Sky like way later than anyone else. So it would always be like when I went to a mate's house and it would be on, and it's so like weird and dark, and it's similar to like the Powerpuff Girls, where it's like people are just dressed weird and talking weird, and it's kind of grim.
Guy's got eyeballs in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so like obviously not particularly scary, but kind of uncomfortable like watching it. And so it just stuck with me for the longest time. Like I for this, I kind of went back and rewatched it, and like I have made it so much worse in my mind.
Really?
Like in my mind, it was like a trauma movie or like a Toxic Avenger, where things would like truly grotesque and body horror. It's just a good looking cartoon.
The animation was very unusual. It was the same style as like we said the Thornberries and what was it? Hey Arthur? No, Hey Arthur.
Yeah, Hey Arthur. They had that similar. Well, a bit darker, but sort of that kind of around the same time. I'm sure Hey Arthur was a 90s cartoon as well, which was another one that I did enjoy. Yeah, it was Kid with the best bedroom in the world. He did, and his granddad had a really weird neck. He did have a weird neck. The other thing that kind of made me think it was just a fun thing because it's set in New York. Like it's never really explicitly said, but there is quite a few. And so the best they can figure it's a real place called Fresh Kill Landfill that's in New York. Yeah, the Fresh Kills landfill was a landfill covering just over 2,000 acres in New York City borough of Staten Island, and it comes from Fresh Kills is a old Latin word or something for water byway or something, but it just happens to sound like the creepiest place on the planet.
Yeah, that's a great name though. Yeah, I remember the monster in charge. Didn't he have lipstick and black leather boots or something?
In my head, it was voiced by Tim Curry, but I'm almost certain that it wasn't voiced by Tim Curry.
Yeah, 'cause that was obviously Nigel Thornberry. That was Tim Curry.
Yeah. But he had that sort of weird, he was in high heels and lipstick, and
there was a point where, well, you can explain a lot of drag stars who are our age away from the cartoons that we watched as kids. Because if you look at Powerpuff Girls as well, wasn't him? Was he called Him? Yeah, which was like the devil-y character. And then we also had Cow and Chicken with the devil, who was just a naked red. He was just naked all the time. Yeah. Ass always out on show, flapping around.
Yeah.
Oh, he had that really weird laugh as well. I'm trying to think of any other characters like that.
I can't remember who said it. I remember Sarah Silverman saying it. I don't know where she got it from or if it came from her, but she came up with the phrase that comedy rots, where basically you make a joke 20 years ago and it very slowly over time becomes, it degrades. And that's the kind of thing, just because they did it back in the day, and people say, oh, you couldn't get away with that now. No, of course you couldn't. They make other stuff now. But it is completely legitimate for the time that it came out of. It's so weird and bizarre, though. It definitely sort of, when you look at how they influence people, I'm sure that there was somebody out there who was just like, that looks fucking fabulous.
Yes, I've got to get me some of those.
I want to be like him from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, cartoons back then, I think, were very strange. And I'd be very interested to know where the animators then got their inspirations for making stuff that way, because it obviously dropped off that kind of tone of animation and weird characters like that. But now again, because the people that are like our age and now the animators and the people making the shows, like you see like Helluva Boss and Has Been Hotel, you're now seeing that again. Like the same style of humor and the same unusual characters popping up again.
I mean, it's things have the sort of flows, don't they? So you're right. Like the people who are making stuff now, were our age back then. That's why you have when somebody says, "Oh, everything looks the same." Like when Adventure Time came out, and a lot of animations had that sort of same type of mouth shape and weird sort of humor and everything. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, because we're all sort of raised on the same thing, and this is what it's made us. When you look at Centaur World that's come out recently, very similar. Yeah. Kind of deal,
it is,
Steven Universe, it looks a bit different, a little bit more kind of maybe advanced, you might say, in animation style and design, but that similar sort of non sequiturs and everything. People raised on Family Guy, where you used to sort of non-linear jokes and storytelling and everything. It all has its sort of layers. And in the next 20 years, animation will look very different to what it is now, but it'll look the same as each other, more or less. There will be a style that will sort of take over the kind of the zeitgeist of everybody making stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll definitely see cohesion in styles, like you said, and it even goes to the medium in which way the cartoons are made, because it's someone will teach someone a technique and that'll get transferred across. And speaking of Helluva Boss, I'm pretty sure in the latest episode that came out the other day, which is episode 6, I think, there is a hand animated part.
Right.
Because I saw pencil guidelines. That's what you see.
I don't
Disney.
know. I haven't seen this latest one, but I mean, you can add that. If it's not 2D animated, they can make it look like 2D animation now. Not saying that it's not. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but
no, it just seemed like a weird choice. Even right at the end of the scene, which is it's Moxie singing, I think. When he's tripping on something, the frame holds on his face at the end, and it is his face in the camera, and there is a pencil line, and it holds it for 2 seconds, and it's that's very intentionally shown that it's this is pencil animated. It seems like a weird choice to throw it in, but I didn't know anyone would try and do that now. It's cool to see it if it is what it is, but
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
There's always going to be room for that, and people kind of do. They move with the times, and when you look at something like the new show on Marvel, What If? Like that's a
Yeah, yeah.
very strange sort of 3D style to everything that
But painted textures like cell shaded, isn't it?
it's kind of, yeah, but it's, I don't know what it's called, honestly. I don't even know if it has a name, but there's a certain kind of style of animation that you'll find, especially in anime.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of Ruby and everything, where it's kind of it's a 3D, but in the style of anime. There probably is a
Yeah,
name
like
for it.
Beastars is the same, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And quite a few of those I don't get on with. Beastars I quite like, and they use it in Attack on
Same,
Titan
yeah.
quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that style I'm not a massive fan of, and that's kind of what the Marvel one is. But they do it very well, and it's good storytelling anyway. So whatever, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think there is the kind of moves with time, and I think that we'll probably see sort of a shift maybe to that way a little bit more.
More
Because they're
3D
kind of getting
stuff.
better
Yeah.
at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
but who
mean,
knows?
I don't know if this is true, but the What If series looks and feels like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the people who obviously worked at Disney when Clone Wars ended, when they did that final series,
Yeah.
if those guys were like, right, let's move on to What If, and that was what they were working on next.
Could be. I haven't seen any behind the scenes stuff, but it does seem like there could be some like motion capture and everything in there, because I know that a lot of it was like hand animated in the Star Wars stuff, but there was a little bit of that. It does. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Is there any others you want to bring up? Because we need to get on to talk about your book.
Oh well, we can do. This is more important.
No, I want to talk about your book.
I've got what? So yeah, final one. And I'm not certain if there's been any games made of this, but it's a show called Pokemon.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was my final one too. So that ties in nicely.
So it's Pokemon, specifically Pokemon Indigo League.
Yes.
So that one ran from just on the coast 97 to 99. It was technically, I guess, one season, but obviously it's massive. But even that was 82 episodes in Japan.
Is it 82? Wow.
82 in Japan, 80 like English speaking, and then 79 internationally because of all the banned episodes.
Oh, yeah, there was Porygon, which like gave people seizures or something.
Yeah, Porygon that knocked him out, and then Beauty and the Beach with Misty in a bikini getting purred on, and James with inflatable breasts.
Yes.
That one. And then there was one called The Legend of Mini Ryu, where there was a guy with a gun knocking about, and so they got rid of him.
They just got rid of it. Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Weird.
there was that. And
I know that there's, like, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, apparently there's loads of that, whereas there's a lot more guns in the Japanese version. They had to chop out loads of that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
So,
enough.
like, where did Pokemon fall for you? Because, like, it began a lot of people's obsession, like, in like, my friend group anyway, because it's like, going from the cards is one thing. He says with, like, loads of cards sat behind him on the bed that no one can see that are out of shot.
Yeah.
But to, like, have the creatures then come to life on the screen in front of you is like a whole other level.
Yeah.
And then playing the games is like, I'm now interacting, playing with these Pokemon. So, like, where does the cartoon fall for you?
So for me, because I never did the cards until way later. Like that was, I was aware of them, but never played them. I was the game first, and then it was the animated series. And yeah, it was exactly that. Like, I was Pokemon Red.
See, that seems to be the only one who played Blue. Everyone played Red, it seems.
But it's cool.
Yeah, wrong, but that's fine.
I always say, if there was ever a chance to have a Pokemon, not that I'd fight them, but a little Charmander, he's my guy. So
Charmander's very cute.
Yeah, he's my dude.
Charmander's cute.
So yeah, that was it popped up, and as I say, we didn't get Sky, which is where I think I saw a couple of episodes, and I do remember it being on like ITV.
I think so.
Like where it was first on, and I remember seeing a couple of episodes there, and then years later we got Sky, and I was able to watch it a lot more regularly. And now, you've got access to everything in the world now, so we can.
It's
watch
all on
it
Netflix
leisure.
as well, isn't it?
I
Indigo
think so.
League's all on Netflix.
Yeah,
I think Sun and Moon is on Netflix. I started watching that, and then there's Pokemon Journeys as well, which is like a retelling of like the original or something.
Yeah. Well, there's an excellent movie. I can't remember if it was like Pokemon Our Story or Pokemon I Choose You. I think that was it. Pokemon I Choose You, where it's a retelling, but it's like the game. And so, the other character isn't. It's not Gary like it was in the show, but it's like
isn't it Red and Blue?
Yes, and so they go by those names in the movie.
Yeah. Right, I'll have to check that out.
It's really good. The animation's beautiful.
Did you see Detective Pikachu?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was actually very good. It fell apart a bit towards the end. The plot got a bit like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
But the character design, the animation, everything you saw looked pretty flawless.
Yeah.
And I'm quite excited to hear that we're getting a live action series. Apparently,
it makes sense.
Which could be very cool. Yeah.
I mean, they did it. I did see the first Pokemon movie, which I think at that point was just called Pokemon the movie in the cinema. And then they remade that one. I don't know if you saw that one.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really weird because I watched that one quite a few times. After watching it in cinema, I had it on VHS and stuff. And they have done it like it is just not maybe a shot for shot, but it's the same story, just done in 3D. Like that's kind of CG animation. It's really bizarre. It's like somebody stepping over your grave. It's like, it feels wrong. I don't
know why they do that. Yeah, like, because they're never going to... I can't see it. I know obviously there's kids now who are still going to be like, oh my God, a Pokemon movie that's new. Yeah, sure. And they're still going to watch it, but I don't know.
It's so bizarre.
Or would they make more? Would they make more money doing that? Because they're not only getting the new people, they're getting the people whose nostalgia who are going to go, oh, I might actually watch that because I watched the original.
I mean, I did. I watched it with my son because he hasn't seen the first one. So I was like, okay, well, this will be your introduction to it. You know, and it is the same story. I think even the lines are like, I'm sure they're re-recorded, but it's the same lines from the other movie. So, yeah.
So weird.
And so the last thing on this, because I teased this before we went on, how many Pokemon games in total, including spin-offs, do you think there is?
I said 25 before the show. I've got a feeling there might be more now, though, now that I'm thinking about it.
So,
go on.
We'll do from the main games. So from like the original kind of Japanese, and then you go to like red and blue and yellow and stuff, up to and including the latest one that's coming out. That was it, Arceus or something?
Yeah, Arceus Journeys or something.
Just those ones. There's 38 of them.
Right.
In total, and this includes any Pokemon. So you've got Super Smash Bros. And all that. 122 games of Pokemon.
Crap. 122?
Yeah. 122.
Wow. That is insane. I remember some of that, like I mentioned Pokemon Pinball, which was actually, that was a very good game. I actually very much enjoyed that on the Game Boy. That was a great game.
It's crazy.
But I know there's like the Stadium Fighters when we were in the arcades in Japan. There was like Tekken. Is it called Pokken? It's like Pokemon Tekken.
Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, there was people fighting on that, and they had all like sign-ins with cards and stuff in the arcades. It was really quite cool. I mean, I loved Pokemon Stadium. That was a great game.
I love Pokemon, but 122. So bearing in mind that's online, and there is a list that you can find at Bulbapedia that goes into it that maybe they're using, because I'm seeing here there's like ones that maybe I wouldn't consider as proper Pokemon games. Like it looks like a Tetris ripoff. But anyway, but that's according to this is 122. A lot of Pokemon.
That's a lot of Pokemon. And speaking of wonderful little creatures, how was that for a segue? I want to hear about your new book about the wonderful little creatures.
We'll do that quickly then. Yes. So I've done a book called Sadie and The Wisps. I've done one, which you can see here. This isn't terribly on my laptop camera, but it's my author copy. That's why it has this not for resale on it.
It's going to come with that. That's part of the art. It's a style thing he's going for.
That's the thing I'm trying. So this is a book that I did during lockdown to try and get into book illustration and specifically like kids books, because it's kind of a saturated market in general. You know, there's people trying to get into it, but the best way to get into it, unfortunately, is to have the experience of making a book. And it's one of those classic, how do you get experience at something if somebody doesn't let you do it? You just got to do it yourself. So I've done this one. I've got another one that I'm working on. I've got another one kind of planned out as well. So I will just keep making kids books almost for myself until somebody pays for me to do them.
Ross gets in bed and reads to himself at night. Luckily, he has a kid who he can read them to. It's not just like you read them to your wife. No.
Who is an author in her own right as well, who does who does novels.
Amazing.
But she's very hands-off about it. But yeah, so I can check with him for that one. I've got another one, as I say, coming up now, which I've not got a title for yet.
Okay.
But it's about a lonely little boy who tries to befriend a ghost that lives in his house. And
Cool.
the way he kind of realizes it is he realizes every time he sees this ghost, it's tidying up, and so that's how like they begin to sort of connect and make friends.
That's the kind of ghost you kind of want in your house.
Exactly.
Like, the ones I've had just move shit around, and it's annoying.
But this one, I'm trying to, because I'm not a writer particularly of this kind of stuff. I'm giving it a best shot, but this one I'm actually trying to do as a rhyme as well.
Okay, cool.
So as a little preview, this is one of my particular favorite like pages that I did. So this is like after the like beginning intro, and he's talking about the house that he loves to live in. He says like, there was another kid here. One just like Treat. Treat is the name of the little boy. Although, unlike Treat, this Treat had no feet. This kid could glide. They could hide and they could slide. The reason this was that this kid had died. A ghost! How special, how interesting, how wild. Treat had seen them 3 times, and each time Treat had smiled. There you go.
That's wonderful, dude. I love that. You should do, if you want, we could do the audio book.
Oh, yes. This one has a lot more words. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but Sadie and the Wisps is not a long book particularly, but this one is actually, it's 26 pages currently. I'm kind of writing it through as I go, and then kind of sketching it as I go as well. But it is a long one when you actually get down to it, because each page is kind of like that or a bit longer. So
yeah. Well, if you remember the way that they animated the work you did for us on the Spookies.
Yes, yeah.
I could always help you make it into a little video as well after if you want.
That'd be awesome. We'll take this off mic though, because money might be involved. So
yeah, we'll chop this.
We'll do business on this. But yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be kick-ass. It's definitely something I've thought about. Is at the moment you can get it on Amazon, Sadie and the Wisps. Obviously, it comes up as a Kindle version, but of course there's a physical copy that you get. It's all print on demand. I will be.
It's nice to get proper art.
What's that? Sorry.
I'm just saying, get the physical copies. It's nice to see proper artwork in full color, and
as Stanley said about digital comic books, it's like pornography. It's great to look at on a screen, but eventually you want to hold something in your hand.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. Yes. Well done. Amazing, dude. No, I'm really glad that you've done this. Like, I'm really fucking proud of you. Like, because I've been watching you do art for a long time now. Like, we've been friends for a while. Since like, I can't remember how we came into contact. I think it was Instagram first.
I'm sure, because I think you made contact with, because I got through the Bottom of the Stream guys was the first
that's right.
pod of this sort of like pod family that sort of developed. Those are the first guys I find, and I think they mentioned you, or maybe even went on an episode, and that you guys had already been going for a little while, and then I jumped into you guys, and then I started going back through like just the spooky burritos. And then I went back and like did all the rest of them. Like it was kind of that way to it, because I think you guys had been going. There was a fair few episodes of it, so it took me a while to kind of catch up.
Yeah, it's funny because like Mike Minnesota on the Discord or whatever his name is at the moment, it might be High Rise Mike or it's something vampire.
He's either
Mike,
a vampire or a piece of bread. I don't know.
I don't know. Shout out to you, Mike.
Yeah,
he was saying the other day. Yeah. And if anyone wants to join the Discord, feel free to get the link in the description. He like met us on the Has Been Hotel episode and through Reddit, and then went right back to the beginning and had been listening from the beginning, and now he's up to date. And he messaged me the day. He was like, "Have you not put an episode out this week?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." He was like, "Oh, right, okay, right, I'll wait for that one." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got Ross coming on." He was like, "Oh, cool, nice." So he's looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, I mean that's insane. Like, because obviously we've done some of these movie nights. You're talking to people, and just these weird connections that you make that you don't particularly. Nice. I did not expect to make more friends after 30. If I'm completely honest.
No, I have made more friends doing this podcast and stuff than I have probably in high school and stuff. Like, I had quite a few friends in high school, but like through doing podcasting is like, it's so weird the amount of people that you meet, like the connections. Like, Nightgeist were the first friends I really made through podcasting, And they were the ones who got me into podcasting. Like I've said this before on an episode, like I listened to their podcast and I was like, I want to meet with a friend and talk shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we had them on and all that sort of stuff. But as I was saying with you, like from watching you do the art with Bottom of the Stream, because obviously you did their branding, didn't you? You did their logo and stuff.
It was one of those, because they had a logo and everything, but I was just like, oh, I do art, and if you wanted, I'm more than happy to do a logo for you. Just randomly message. I think I messaged on Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
And it must have been Adam who kind of does all that. So he said, like, yeah, go for it. So I did that, and then I just kind of steamrolled from there, and it kind of gives me focus as well when I'm looking for something to draw, and you guys talk about something weird or bizarre on the podcast. It kind of, it gives you focus to do something, and so. Yes,
and your wonderful fan arts that you've done, some of which you've had to take down the random things you've drawn. From the socials, I believe.
They're all saved. They're not gone forever, but on my Instagram, basically, I've kind of rebranded to be more, kid book friendly, less kind of half finished work and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's certain things that you'll only ever see in the Discord. Like, if I ever get famous enough to be cancelled, that's where you have to go to do it.
Yeah, definitely. There's some interesting pieces in the Discord, listeners. If you're not there yet, you'll get the question if you join. I imagine maybe we'll bring the question back.
Oh no, I think that question is long gone now.
Retired firmly. Yeah. I'm so glad, dude. Like I really am. I want to see you do really well with this. And if there's anyone who can do it with art like yours, it's you. Honestly. I
mean, the main thing is, it's tough to say, but I'm just happy that I've managed to finish something. Like I've been working on a comic book for, I want to say 5 years now, maybe. That I've started and stopped and restarted because like my style's changed. So I'm like, well, I can't use those pages anymore, so I need to redo and rewrite and all that. And it just, as you're doing it as a one-man band, it's a lot of work to take on yourself. That's why I enjoyed doing Sadie and the Wisps. The way I've drawn it, and show it on the camera, but I'll just describe it on here, is like they're all like single big images. Occasionally you'll get
colours are lovely.
Occasionally you'll get kind of more kind of spreads like that. But in general, they are kind of single images that I can have a focus on and get them done, and it's not very long. It's not very, it's not long. It's not very long written either. But the fact that I was actually able to finish it and put it out is enough for me almost at this point. Now I'm going on to the next one, and I say I've got another one kind of planned out and everything. But I never thought I'd even be able to finish it. So
it's an amazing feeling when you do get to finish a creative project. Like there's very few that do get finished, and that's just sort of a hazard of being a creator that unless you're putting it out as a product to sell, a lot of stuff doesn't get finished. Like as a podcaster, my project is never finished because a podcast just keeps going. It's just like, you just keep putting out a new thing. Whereas if you're selling it as a product, like an art thing, or like whether I'm doing websites for people, that kind of thing. It's nice to have a finish point and go, okay, sign it off.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any advice for people who are feeling the same? Like struggling to finish stuff?
Absolutely. My advice is manage your expectations. Kind of understand, like really kind of take a step back and kind of understand what are your blockers for everything. Because for me personally, it was just taking on too much. Like even recently, during my first project during COVID, was I was going to do a very short story. I think I mentioned it to you, kind of the Wendigo comic.
Yeah, that's right.
And that one started off as a really simple tale about a couple of campers that get lost in the woods and are attacked by Wendigo. That progressed. By the time I was done with it, it was an epic LGBT love story that spanned generations, and there was like time travel and all this and ghosts, and it was just like I just stopped myself at one point. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Ross, what have you done?
It was and that's the problem. So I would recommend, if you have a story in your head or something creative that you want to do, whatever it is, plot it out as best you can and just stick with it. And also get help is the other thing that is I recommend. I've luckily not had to do it on Sadie and the Wisps. I was able to do it myself. But anything else like a comic, reach out to like the community. and find somebody that can draw something for you, or do the lettering if it's something like a comic book, or do your editing.
Yeah.
You have to rely on other people, because if you're just a one-man band, you're only letting yourself down, and you will let yourself down quicker than you'll let down somebody else.
That's right. Yeah, that's totally fucking right. You are undoubtedly correct there. It's managing your expectations is a hard thing when you're doing something creative, and like this is something that you see in I can pull it back to games, to be honest. Like if you look at a lot of indie games, take for example like Night in the Woods, which is a game that obviously I love and a lot of people love, and I know Lulu loves it as much as I do. That is a game that nailed its core concept. Like something we learn in uni when you're creating a project is to look at the scope of things that you create. And it's literally called a scope because you're looking at what you're aiming at. And you whittle it down so much until you have a nugget. And that nugget is your main mechanic of the game, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's jumping, shooting, or talking in that game. And everything you do should be tied around that one small thing and to make it as perfect as possible.
Yeah.
And then once you've got it to a point where you're like, okay, it feels right, or in terms of art, it looks right, and it's complete, that's the time to then ship it.
Yeah.
Just finish it, block it out, and make it simple. It doesn't have to be a complex story about time traveling LGBT Wendigos. Yeah. However amazing that story would be, and I would love to read it. If you're doing it on your own, you've got to make sure to do it yourself.
But on just what you said, the other thing I take from a children's book illustrator, he's done all this stuff as well, Jake Parker, a really good illustrator. Finished, not perfect, is a big one. Is just people will get it where you're a perfectionist and you want to put the best thing forward, but nobody will read it if it's not done. Like it doesn't matter how perfect it is if it's not out there. So if you have to, and I've done it, there's stuff I see in Sadie and the Wisps now where I'm like, oh, if I'd do that page again, I'd change that, or I'd move that, or that's not quite right. But it's done, and I can move on from it. And then the next one and everything. So yeah, you need to know when to cut it off as well.
You do, you really do. And it that's a hard thing though. Like even knowing when you're at a point when you think that it's finished is hard. Like when you're doing music, it's the same thing. Like when I was doing, I did the Cockwarts music for Chart Select.
All right, yeah.
And just like EQing things, I sat there for 2 days when the song was technically finished, and I was just like, this snare doesn't sound right. This hi-hat doesn't sound right. You know, I was like tweaking stuff like, and I even went back to it the other day and did another day on it. And I've not even told Stu or anyone that I've done that. So Stu, you're probably listening. I'll send it to you like tomorrow or something. You got another mix on the way, even though I made that fucking 6 months ago. But yeah, to know when something's just finished, just get it to a point where, don't you think that's a point where other people looking at it, someone from an outsider point of view can be really helpful?
It can be. I mean, ultimately, it's the thing that works for me is deadlines. You've got a deadline to meet, even if it's self-imposed. Just put a deadline on it. Make sure that you meet it. Obviously, if it's not done, if it's not, if you can say that this is an unfinished project, then obviously you have to move things, and deadlines can shift.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if there's a client that you're working for, then obviously it's up to them because it's on their dime and everything. But if it's you, like for me, I was like, I want to get the book out before my next birthday, which is on the 9th of August, and so that was my deadline. And so that's what I hit, and I was able to do it. So it was an arbitrary deadline, really. Nobody would have given a shit if it came out a couple of days later. It only meant something to me, but I managed to hit it because I gave myself a deadline.
Yeah, and there you go. It means something to you. Stick to your goals, do what you want to do, and be happy while you do it. And I think that's a perfect way to round up the episode, don't you? To end it on a nice little positive note there.
I think so.
Yeah. So do you want to show us the book one more time? Tell the listeners where they can get it.
So
Go buy it.
The book is Sadie and the Wisps. From the back of it says, Sadie loves going on adventures, but today she's wandered too far into the forest and it's getting dark. Maybe some new friends can help light her way.
So nice. So nice. And Ross, where can they find you? Where's all your socials?
So yeah, you can find me. So it's Ross Cooke Illustration on Instagram. I'm Ross Cooke. I'm similar on Twitter, or it's Cooke8008. You'll find me being mentioned on the Grief Burrito one as well. But generally, it's Instagram that you wanna see my stuff, and I'll be trying to add to that regularly as I kind of update for this new book.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to get all the copies, and please sign them for me. And I'll make sure to put these links in the description as well, guys. So if you're just listening and you're not watching and you're on the, you're driving or on the go, you can grab it just in the description at the bottom. You can find me everywhere at HazWild, and you can find the podcast at Grief Burrito. If you like the episode, make sure to leave a little review, tell us what you thought, share it with your friends, because that makes a difference. And let us know what your favorite 90s cartoon intros were, because I really do want to know and watch through some. Feel free to send them, stick them in the Discord. Any final thought before we go?
I'll be back for the 80s, because I'm more 80s. Brave Star was my guy from the 80s.
Okay.
You want to talk cartoon intros? The 80s is where it's at.
Well, remember when we did that space? We did spaces on Twitter. Me, you, and 80s Nostalgia, that random channel. We'll get him on and we'll do that. How about we line that up for the future?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Right, guys. Have an amazing day. I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Love you all.
Love you.